Hey guys, I'm back. So today's video is gonna be wrap up of what I read on the month of August, and I think we're gonna be here for a while because I read 21 books. Yeah, things went a bit out of hand. So the thing is, I was participating in a month-long readathon that was hosted by the World Traveler Erin, and we were divided into houses, and we were getting points for houses for reading books within the same series, for reading, for finishing books, for books that of more of 300 pages and all that stuff. And I am really competitive. Yeah, that happened. So yeah, so since we're gonna be here for a while, I'm just gonna jump into the book, into the books that I've read, and just let you all know. So the first book I completed in August was an audiobook, and it was Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The book that I cannot speak. That book was amazing. I love it. So the thing is, I want to read everything she comes up with, but until that happened, I'm gonna read her bad stuff, and I started with this one. This one is about a widow. She married, and she becomes a widow 7 or 8 days after her wedding, in the most absurd possible way. And it's about how she has to deal with her loss, as well as how she deals with meeting the mother-in-law she never met. And it's such a great book about grieving and how you handle that. And yeah, it was so good and so perfect in so many ways. So totally recommend you to read it. It's worth your time. And actually the audiobook was great. So if you're looking for it, go. Then I read The Novice, this one by Tara Mafaru. This one, it's like I think reading this book, I felt like the first time I read Harry Potter. It was like so magical, so nice, so great. It was just wow, so perfect. So in this one we follow Fletcher, who is an orphan, and by some accident he found a book, and he summons a demon, and so that demon does something that got him some trouble, and he has to run away. And in running away, he ends up in the Vulcans, which is the magical school from this world, and it's incredible. So magic in this world, it's set all around demons, and I think it's really original, nice concept. So I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, because even though I really enjoyed the book, it was not quite a 5 stars yet. So that happened. Then, as reading books within the same series give you more points, I decided to read like the whole series, and I was so addicted to it that I could not stop. So I picked up The Inquisition, which is the second book in the trilogy. So this one was incredible. It was the perfect continuation, and if you read a lot, you are used to get like a really nice first book, then a second book that it's not quite, so it's like you go this way, and then third book goes up. And you know what I'm trying to say is that this book doesn't have the middle book syndrome. This was a great book, great continuation, highly recommend it. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot tell you much about it because, you know, spoilers. So this month I've been doing a bit of traveling because it was August, and I was working for half of it, and then for half of it I was on vacation. So on the trains I get super dizzy, and I've been doing audiobook listening. So I listened to Again But Better by Christine Riccio, and I promise you that I really wanted to like this book, and I didn't. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars, and the thing is, 60% of the book, sorry for the word, was pure shit. And then the ending 40% was really good. So I think that if the first 60% was sum up in a prologue, and then 40% of the book was a bit longer, would have been way better. So also I think it's I think it's tagged in a marketing way, so it's tagged for contemporary readers, whereas I think if you said it has some magical realism elements because of time travel, or however it is you please to call it, because some fantasy elements, because it has an element of time travel, it would have been way better. So yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars because first 60% was solid 2 stars, and then last 40% was 4 stars for me. Then I read, rather than read, listened to on the train as well. I listened to Royals by Rachel Hawkins, and let me tell you, this book was so much fun. So this one is about a girl who is the little sister of the girl who is going to be marrying the Prince of Scotland, and the younger sister sees herself involved in a bit of a scandal, and to prevent that she ends up having or making a bigger scandal, they take her to spend the summer in Scotland. And so it was so much fun to see her interacting with the royals and learning how to behave as royals would, and yeah, it was so much fun. So I think you're gonna like this one if you like the Anne Hathaway's movies, Princess Diaries I think it's called in English, and it's just so much fun. It's a perfect fluffy read for the summer. And then continuing, I finish The Battle Mage by Taran Matharu. Also, this one is the 3rd part to the Summoner trilogy. It was the perfect conclusion to the trilogy. I think it has some great elements. It's like the books age as the characters do that, as the characters do too, and yeah, perfect conclusion. So if you want to have that feeling of reading Harry Potter all over again, please read this trilogy. And as I was not ready to say goodbye to this world, I went and read The Outcast, also by Taran Matharu. This one is a prequel novel of the Summoner, and we follows Arcturus, or Artucus, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry, I butchered it. So this one is, I mean, it's great, and it was so much fun to read too. And I also gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, it was great, and it was so much fun to see how some of the things that happened in this book were then in how things that happen in this book will affect and will have an impact on what happens later on the other novels. Then I reread, I didn't take that one off, it's here. I reread Iron Gold. So I reread this one because on my audiobook app I keep seeing Dark Age, and it was like, oh my god, I'm dying, I cannot wait. And as I'm told you, I haven't been able to get Dark Age. Thankfully that has been solved now. It's coming at the end of this month, but yeah. So the thing is, I was dying to read it, so I listened to this one again. I gave it 5 stars. However, even though when the narrators did such a great job, I didn't like them, and I didn't continue reading Dark Age because I didn't want a narrator that I didn't like fucking up a book that I would otherwise love. So yeah, so I read that one. Then I listened to Four Dead Queens by Astrid Scholte. I don't know if I have pronounced her name correctly, sorry. So this one I gave it 2 stars. I mean, it's almost like completely erased of my mind, but this is like a very typical dystopia. It's like the world is divided in quadrants. You have 4 queens. It was like so simplistic, a very simplistic vision of the world, very poor world building, and the romance way too predictable. Yeah, not liking, so 2 stars to that one. Then I read, also it's here, a collection of short stories by Henry James, which is this one, Relatos, and it's just that, a collection of short stories by Henry James. So with this author, I come to the conclusion I love him. I'm gonna read everything I can find, and yeah, I found a new favorite in this book, which is called in English the real thing. So that one was incredible. So if you get the chance, I think it's online for free, like, because it's a classic, it's like no royalties, so you can read it online, and it was really, really nice. And I read The Lesson of the Master and completely fell in love again. I just love Henry James. And then I listened to 12 Patients, Life and Death at the Bill Hospital by Eric Mannheimer. And I gave 2 stars to that one. And that one is non-fiction, and I'm okay with it being non-fiction. And the thing is, I read this book because I watched the show New Amsterdam, completely love it. And as when I see the show was based on this book, was like, I have to to read it. And I did, and was so extremely disappointed by it. The thing is, this was so focused on showing diversity that it didn't focus on the real thing. You might have noticed a change in angle. The camera died. Then I listened to one of my favorite books of the month, which was Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This was a recommendation from Erin over the World Traveler, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. We followed Georgie and Travis, and Georgie have a crush on Travis since ever, actually, from her childhood, and Travis has given up sport in which you hit the ball, baseball. Travis has been forced to retire out of baseball because he injured his shoulder, and it was so perfect in so many ways. So they both want something but cannot achieve that something without the help of the other, and so they reach an agreement to help each other achieve what they want, and it was incredible, so much fun. And the ending, don't even get me started on the ending because it was so fucking perfect. Yeah, highly recommend it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Amadeus by Yuval Noah Harari. Yuval Noah Harari. Come on, I can speak. Yuval Noah Harari. This one is kind of like companion book to Sapiens, which I liked. I read it a couple of months ago, and it was okay. You know, I mean, Sapiens was great. This one, not so much. I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have wanted. First 2 chapters, over and over again, Sapiens. Rest of the book, it was like he has read a ton of sci-fi and then put like pessimistic theories about the future. And his conclusion was funny because after I read this book, which I gave 3 stars, I read this one, which is the trilogy of the Foundation, which has Foundation and Empire, and Second Foundation. So it's a bind up of those 3, of those 3. And the thing is, in this book, I read it in Spanish, so I don't know the word in English, but they have a science in which using math you predict the future, which, by the way, econometrics, never mind. So, sorry for the noises, I have noisy neighbors. So, they have that here, and it's through data. And his conclusion is that the future is going to be predict with data, and superhumans are gonna be superhumans because of data predicts the future. So yeah, this one also disappointed me. By the way, I was hoping for an action pack, and I found that, and then it was like almost Shakespearean at times, which I guess for Shakespeare and classics is okay, but not for this. I mean, at least not for me. Yeah. And then I asked to Erin for more recommendations after reading Fix Her Up, and she told me to read the Steele Brothers saga, and I've read the first 3 books, which are Craving, Obsession, and Possession, and they were so highly entertaining and addicting. So if you like that kind of, and if you like romance, this book is for you. However, please be aware that it has some very explicit sex scenes. So maybe if you're a younger reader, wait a bit to read this one. And also trigger warnings for sexual assault and child abuse. So please be aware of that. Anyhow, this book was like really, really, you know, addicting, and I gave to 4 of the books 4 out of 5 stars. And then I also read Fight or Flight. I mean, I rather than read, listened to Fight or Flight, which was so much fun. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and this one is about 2 people who met in an airport, and Caleb has taken the girls, which I don't remember her name, Ava. Caleb has taken Ava's place in first class, and she's not dealing with that, and then something happened and they are forced to stay together, and yeah, some attraction happens and stuff happened, and it was so much fun. Yeah, highly recommended. And then the last 2 books that I read, I don't know why I didn't pick them up earlier, are this is the Spanish edition, but it's A Shadow Bright and Burning, and then A Poison Dark and Drawing. I have already read these 2, completely loved them, and again gave them, both of them, 5 out of 5 stars. And yeah, that's all that I read this month. That was long, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna stop talking now, and yeah, that's pretty much all. Bye bye.